What's going on, guys? Welcome to this installment of Mike's Vehicle Vlogs, and I want to thank you again for joining me today. It's cold. This is cold today. It's not like freezing cold, but yesterday was probably the last hot day of the year. It's October 4th right now, so yesterday, was October 3rd, and it was around 90 degrees yesterday, and it was humid, very hot, very uncomfortable. And now today it's been in the 50s. I think it's like 55 right now, and it's breezy, so it is cold compared to yesterday. So hoodie weather is here. So today we're going to talk about my old girl here. We've been driving it week and a half ish at this point in time, and yesterday one of my misfires came back yesterday out of nowhere, which is really bizarre. Yeah. Also, this used to be a whole stump in my my neighbor's yard. See, here's the edge of my driveway. Neighbor's yard. That was a whole stump sitting there. What happened to it? I just noticed that. Oh well, not the point. Anyway, so she's been out for a week and a half, and everything really hasn't been too bad. She was been running good, with the exception of really having no fourth gear. I've covered that in a previous video. It's been good. However, yesterday it was, like I said, extremely hot. It was humid. I took the car to work with me, and on my lunch break I went and got some food. It was fine. I ate, came back, and when I got back to work I had some time to kill, so I just kind of sat in the car for a little bit with it running, and all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, it just started just like it used to. And the lights, it was enough for the check engine or the service engine light to flash like it used to, and I'm thinking, oh crap. Well, we had a good run for the first week anyway. So that was bizarre. And when I left work yesterday, it was a lot cooler. Obviously, it was maybe down to 70 something. It wasn't as humid. And I started up the car and I drove it home, and it was perfectly fine. There was no misfire at all. I kid you not. The light wasn't blinking. The light's still on, but it came on for other reasons, which we're gonna maybe try to determine here in a little bit. But it was absolutely fine on the way home. So I parked it here, and I took the Fusion to work today. And now the Fusion is home, because obviously I'm home. So we're going to, since I don't own a code scanner yet, we're going to take the Aztek out today, and we're going to drive it over to a parts store, and we're going to see what the service engine light is on for. I'm also wondering, and I really am hoping, I was hoping I wouldn't have to say this, because it's been so good. It's kind of surprising, but not only was the misfire thing kind of interesting, but we may end up having to possibly change out the transmission after all. So as I'm driving it the last couple of days, I'm really noticing the smell of burnt transmission fluid, which is really weird. We have brand new fluid in it, brand new filter, not by choice, because the original fluid all leaked out, so I had to put new fluid in it. But it shifts so good. It literally just feels like it's shifting good. But I have noticed over the last few days there is a slight whine that comes from the transmission, particularly when you start moving, like in first gear. I don't really notice it after that because, well, the dinger is going off for the one of the bad wheel sensors back there, so the chime is constantly, but the engine still sounds good. Yeah, the transmission, I don't know. Now, fourth gear we were going to try to fix at some point in time. I don't drive with speeds faster than what third gear can handle. It doesn't go over 40. And, you know, that should be okay for the time being. But I was going to replace the fourth gear. I think they call it a clutch hub or clutch shaft or something. I don't know. So we were going to do that at some point in the future. But now I don't know if it's going to be worth it, if I should just have the whole transmission changed out. And I'm really iffy about that because there's a lot you got to do to this car in particular to get the transmission out. You have to do it, you know, underneath. You have to drop the cradle. I mean, basically the whole engine and transmission have to come out together. Whereas if I'm just going to replace the fourth gear, you basically just have to have this side dropped enough to get to the side of the transmission so you can take the cover off, take out the valve body and the pump, and the clutch hub is like right there. Even in that in itself is a lot of work just getting to the side of the transmission. So to drop the entire cradle, to change the transmission out, I don't know. But I do find it interesting that it really is starting to smell like the transmission is getting hot. I was kind of wondering if maybe the pump is going bad or was bad to begin with. I mean, if the previous owners didn't have fourth gear, and this car came from the Cleveland area, there are freeways and highways all over the place to get from town to town and into Cleveland and whatnot. I could just, you know, if there was no fourth gear and they're on the highway doing 65, 70 miles an hour in third gear, I'm sure that transmission is like, that transmission's probably screaming for mercy in third gear, if that's the case. But, you know, I'm just really surprised at how well it acts otherwise. But I am getting, you know, from the time that I was started driving it, you know, like, it always smelled like something was getting warm. And I thought, well, you know, there's still a lot of new parts that are on the engine, the new radiator and all that stuff. All of that is finally being broken in. The heat, you know, thought maybe it was just that. But it really is starting to smell like hot transmission fluid. So when I came home yesterday, obviously everything's at temperature or over, I don't know. I checked the fluid level, and as you're supposed to have it at operating temperature. You pull a dipstick out with the car running in park. That's what you're supposed to do with these. It even says it on the dipstick, actually. And it's down some. It's at the very bottom of the hash marks, the safe marks. So I mean, I don't think it was that dangerously low on fluid, but I'm gonna pour more in. You know, I think I have, I don't know, there was maybe a quarter of a gallon I have left in the back of the tech. I'm just gonna dump the rest of it in. Some of it's gonna leak out the bottom for some reason because I don't know what is up with the dipstick tube, but I don't know where it's coming from. But sometimes most of the time when I pour fluid down the dipstick tube, some of it ends up on the ground. I don't know why. I could be losing fluid that way too. I don't know. I tried to look. I couldn't see anything. One of these days I'm going to have to maybe put the car back on the ramps and then try it again and see if we can determine where it's coming from. Or when we drop the cradle to get to the side of the transmission, maybe we'll see something. I don't know. But for now, it is what it is. I'm going to just dump whatever's left in here, and then I'm going to see if maybe anything changes. We did lose a lot of fluid when the car wasn't running initially, when I would come out here and start it, and you know, the old lines were rusted and leaking, and the new line, the one line, constantly leaked anyway. I mean, I don't know if the transmission pumped anything out that wasn't necessarily in the pan. Maybe we got more out of the transmission than, you know, I was hoping. Like, I don't know if the torque converter can go empty that way. It could. Train's here, by the way. It's exceptionally loud today. So, yeah, I just don't know. But I'm going to dump the rest of it in. And I guess we're going to go from there. Take it to the parts store. Have them scan it. Hopefully, maybe the service engine light threw some transmission codes, too. I mean, it's been on long enough and been driving long enough. We didn't get transmission codes initially when I brought the car home. The one code for the oil pressure circuit switch or whatever, I have that sensor. You know, we're going to change that out real soon. I got to buy the tool for it, and then that should be it. The misfire. I really hope maybe the misfire code is not a random misfire, not a P0300. Maybe we can get a cylinder number this time. That'd be nice, because that'll give me an idea of where to look as far as that goes. A lot of random things in this video. I mean, I'm jumping from things, misfire to transmission to... Anyway, we're just going to see. So I'm going to dump the rest of this fluid in here. Get it running for a little bit. See how it sounds and whatnot. And then when my wife gets home, which should be any minute now, you know, we'll take it, get it scanned, do what we got to do, and we'll go from there. Look at how dark that is. See, that fluid was like brand new, you know, and it's getting dark already. I mean, I wouldn't think that there's anything else in there. You know, everything else got pumped out, so I don't know if there's anything in there for it to mix with, but even just standing here with the breeze blowing it my way, it's starting to smell burnt. Now obviously the dipstick's going to say that it's full now because it's cold. It's been sitting. So I'm just going to dump, you know, what's left. My jug has about a quart left in it, so I'm just going to dump the whole thing in there. And I don't know, I guess we'll just see what happens. So I dumped it in, and I don't see anything dripping from the dipstick tube now, or around where the dipstick tube, you know. That's weird. It's not, nothing's dripping out anywhere now. And I poured the whole quart in. Just standing here, you can really smell it. I'm disappointed, man. It's just really bizarre for how well this thing's been acting, you know. It's been acting good. Alright, so she's got one quart in her. I don't know, it still doesn't seem like it's low enough to me for there to be issues, but I'm also not a transmission expert. Trying not to get that anywhere. Put the dipstick back in. I'm just really surprised at how dark that's gotten. And the car's only been driven like 160 some miles now. So it's not even that there's really a whole lot of time put on it. You know? So it's just, I don't know. But everything else is okay. Oil still looks pretty decent. Starting to get dark. A lot more driving now. Oops, that's gonna smoke. Anyway. Let's go ahead and fire it up. 170,652. We have put 171 even on it. Also, I'm gonna have to get gas. Still see nothing leaking. Alright. Line's still good. Line is still good. Yep. Alright. To the parts store we go. Alright guys, so we're back home now. It's been a few hours. We had some stuff to do tonight. Had the Aztek out with us the entire time. But of course the first place that I wanted to stop off at before we went to dinner and a couple of other things. The first thing I wanted to do was obviously take the car, the Aztek, to one of the parts stores that offer a free, service engine scan. And indeed, a gentleman brought out the Actron scan tool, which is actually really nice. And we pulled up 14 codes from the Aztek's OBD2 system. Now, granted, a lot of these were actually history codes that weren't cleared yet, but we do have a few current ones that kind of answer, or at least help me with where I got to go with looking into some of these other problems. So I'm just going to read you guys the codes. That way, you guys will know what they were. Obviously, I'll tell you if they were a history code or they were current. I took pictures with my phone of the scan tool. But anyway, so yeah, there were 14 codes total. The first one was a B0077, and that is a history code for a left front side impact sensor related to the airbag system. So at one point or another, there was an airbag fault with that particular sensor. So that is a history. Since the DTC's erased, it says pass, so it was passed, The second code that came up was a C0245, wheel speed sensor frequency malfunction. This is an ABS related code. It was also a history code, so it's not current. It says everything passed at this time. This one here, C0041, right front wheel speed circuit range / performance. Also another ABS code, history. As of current, everything is passed, so history code. I think my Carfax actually says at some point that some of the hubs on the Aztek were replaced. Then we have C0045, left rear wheel speed sensor circuit malfunction. That's the current code. That is what the ABS, the traction, and the brake, the annoying dinging of the emergency brake light, that is what that is related to, I do believe. So, this ABS code is current. It does say that everything is passed for some reason, but it says it is a current code. So, obviously, the rear left hub is going to have to be replaced. I already kind of told you guys that. Here's an interesting history code. So, it's a U1016 ABS code. A lot of ABS codes here. Loss of communication with powertrain control module. It's, like I said, history code. I think this one might have shown up when I rented a scan tool. A lot of these codes weren't in here, I don't think, when I rented the scan tool. I don't remember there being this many and a lot of these being in here. I could be wrong, but that was a while ago. So another history code. As of this time, it says everything's passed. So, I don't know. Now here's a current code. It's actually a history code. It's requested the service engine light, and it's a current code is what it says. So history, mill requested, current code, and it is related to how the engine was running. So P0172, bank 1 system too rich, and of course, since the DTC's erased, fail. So it says it's failing. Kind of looked into it. A lot of even the guy at the parts store said it could be related to a bad O2 sensor. This O2 sensor, I did replace it already. It's a brand new sensor on a brand new exhaust manifold on that bank. So I'm not 100% sure if there's something else. I'm going to do a little more research, obviously. But, yeah, there's just going to be some more stuff to look at. The other O2 sensor under the car, which would be, the downstream? I think that's the one that's on the actual exhaust pipe close to, after or around the catalytic converter area. That one's still old. I don't know if it's got to do with that, but they said, the guy at the parts store said, check the one that's right off of the bank 2 manifold, or bank 1 manifold. So, I don't know, P0172. So that's one of our current codes. We have our classic P0300. It's a history code. So this one is Probably related to our old misfire situation where we replaced the coils and the coil ignition coil module. So this code, it says history, it's not current, not requesting the mill, which would be the service engine light. Here's a current code. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It says history, but it says mill, so I'm assuming I think it comes up again for a current code, but this is code number 8P0446, evaporative emission system vent control circuit. I had a feeling we were going to end up with an evap code. For how old this car is, I had a feeling an evap code was inevitable. So this did request the service engine light, obviously. It says since DTC's erased, pass and fail. So, I don't know. So that gives me something to look into. Then we have the P1189, which is my engine oil pressure switch circuit. So that is the, like I told you guys, the oil pressure switch that I bought. I got to change that. It says it's a history code and it's current. So that is that. Here's a history code. Number 10, U1040. Loss of electronic brake traction control module serial data. So it's a history code. It says pass and fail, but it hasn't requested the mill. I don't know. P0172 again. Bank 1 system too rich. Confirmed is what this one says. So that's code number 11. Here's what I was looking for. P0303. So my misfire was coming from cylinder 3. It says it was confirmed. So that gives me an idea to look at that particular coil, that particular plug, or not, maybe not the plug, but the wire. I mean, maybe the plug. I don't know. Anything is possible. Unfortunately, that's the cylinder dead center in the back of near the firewall. Unfortunately, so yeah. So that gives me at least something to look, to start looking. So cylinder misfire 3. Cylinder 3 misfire detected. Then we have code 13, P0446, the evap code that we just mentioned. It says confirmed. And then I have number 14 is P0172. Again, it says bank 1 system too rich pending. So that's those are all 14 codes that were stored in the Aztek from then to now, I guess. I'm really surprised I wasn't getting any transmission codes for overheating or anything. It's amazing, guys, because this transmission has been working so well, and the more you drive it now, like as these days are passing, this fluid you really smell the fluid burning. So this transmission is probably it's going to be on its way out, surprisingly enough. I just wonder what exactly is causing the issue, and is it too late now? Because it's still shifting fine. It's not slipping. Like what could it be? I know, especially in automatic transmission, there's so many things in there that can go wrong and such. I don't know if it's maybe because it's been sitting for so long. I don't know if that's got to do with it. It could simply be because we put new fluid in it, and the detergents in the new fluid are probably sweeping out everything else that was maybe holding the transmission together all these years from lack of transmission fluid changes. The previous owners, like I kind of suspect, maybe hammered on it on the highway when there's no fourth gear or overdrive, so maybe the transmission was just really screaming at some points. I don't know. So not really 100% sure where to go with the transmission thing. I know a lot of people are probably thinking maybe just get rid of it. Maybe just ship the car away, sell it as is. I had a couple of people at work tell me maybe just send it off, sell it as is, and you got it to the point where it drives. I don't want to do that yet. I mean, I'm dreading a transmission job. I was really hoping I wasn't going to have to, but it's funny because a part of me thought, the transmission is in bad shape. And then it kind of catches me off guard because it's performing so well. So for this to be taking place, I'm just really confused, and I I'm not 100% sure what to do yet. I don't want to get rid of the car. I really don't want to get rid of the car. Uh, but if I'm going to have a transmission job done, it's probably going to be a long while before I do it. You know, I try to do it myself, but like I said, there's a lot of stuff that you got to do. It'd be a lot easier if the car was on a lift, and I'm not sure if I know anybody personally who has a lift. Really don't want to do it on the ground. You know, I don't understand how that's going to be done. So I don't know. I'm just really puzzled, and I'm not sure what to do. So I'm going to give it some thought. Definitely not going to be driving it as much, but I'm also not going to let it sit either. So maybe just small little trips here and there. Like, you know, tonight we had it out. Wasn't nowhere near a highway. We just, you know, we took it to get dinner and obviously to the parts store, and didn't put it under a whole lot of strain or anything like that. Plus, it's cooler outside. It's not as hot as it was last few days, so maybe it takes a little while for it to warm up or get hot. I wish I just knew how hot it was getting, because it smells awful. So, like I said, I'm just not sure where to go with this right now, anyway. But as far as the misfire and the bank too rich things, you know, I'll do some research, and maybe tomorrow, you know, maybe I'll look at the first thing I'm going to look at is the coil, because we replaced all 3 coil packs, you know, months ago, but I bought used ones only because at the time new ones were, you know, they're still pricey. I mean, I'm sure now that I've discovered Rock Auto, I could probably get them for cheaper than I would at any of the local parts stores. So, but honestly, I'm probably just gonna buy another used coil, because you know, at this time, I'm not 100% sure what we're doing with the car. You know, but I tried to pick the newest coils that I can off of the 3400. In this case, it was a newer Grand Am that I pulled all 3 of those off of, and they looked in the module too. I pulled the module off too, but the coils looked good. Didn't see any cracks or anything, but you know, them being old, and I still think with the heat and the moisture yesterday, how humid it was, if there was a crack developing, maybe the heat, you know, obviously made the plastic or the actual coil expand, and maybe the crack opened up and took in some of the moisture or whatnot. It's just bizarre that yesterday it was completely fine, and today, driving it today, it didn't seem like it was missing at all. It was fine. So that's going to be my first thing. I'm going to look at the coil this weekend. We'll pull it off and inspect it just to see what might be going on, see if there's any physical damage, and if not that, then I don't know. Since it's not missing now, I might just ride with it for a little bit. I'm a little more concerned about the rich thing. So with that, I'm not 100% sure how to test for that. Like I said, that is a new O2 sensor, so I'm not sure. I mean, I'll have to look into that a little more and go from there. But I guess that's it for this vlog. So those are our troubleshooting issues with the tech just after a week and a half of driving it. Of course, not all of those codes that I read off are, you know, current now, obviously, but we do have a few that we're going to look into, along with the transmission thing. And I don't know if anybody has any ideas on what could be causing the transmission. You know, I mean, you think the pump in the transmission's failing? Can I replace the pump maybe when I do the 4th gear? Because you got to take the pump off anyway. Could it be a bad valve body? I mean, I know there's just so much to consider with a transmission, but or do you guys think it would just be easier to swap the transmission with a used one? I'm going to say a lot of you guys probably are going to think to just swap the transmission. So either way, if the transmission's going to be swapped, that's not going to happen for a while. So I'm going to call it a night, guys. So I want to thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys found this stuff interesting. If you did, give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Check out teespring.com/stores/Mike's Vehicle Spotlight for all of your MVS and vlog merchandise. And that's really all I've got. So I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much again for watching, and take care.